Hi YouTube. I'm going to split this into two posts because I have lots to talk about and I know the attention spans can be limited, so very quickly. As far as where my fertility treatment is, the saga continues. When last I left you, we had heard that the tests had been very poor and that the surgery seemed to have had no effect. I went to the urologist who said, look, the test results have always fluctuated from some sperm to almost none. So let's see what happens if you bank 2 more samples. And midway through, what we'll do is take one of the samples, thaw it out, see if it survives, and if so, then you can try ICSI, which is that microsurgical technique where we have an ovum taken out and implanted directly with the sperm. And you can go forward with that process, and you'll have to have a donor backup, and we'll talk about donor sperm in a bit. So we thought, okay, that's more hopeful than a total failure, so I banked another sample and got a note from the reproductive biology unit. That's the place that'll be handling the whole implantation business. That's that's the place where my wife is treated. And we got a message from them that the sperm was viable for ICSI and we could go ahead. So, yay! This is good. Then I got called to my urologist's office to discuss the results. So I went in, and it turned out that what he actually wanted to discuss was my participation in a study, and I was a little annoyed because I had to take the morning off of work to talk about this. So he looks at my results, and then he says, oh, hold on a moment, and he looks at them more carefully and calls the lab, and it turns out that when they thawed the sperm, none were moving, but they didn't check to find out whether any of them were viable, alive, because for ICSI, for this implantation process, they just need to be alive. They don't need to be moving. So he said, we don't know now whether we can move forward with the treatment. So I have the fertility clinic saying, you can go ahead, and the urologist saying, no, you can't. Now, before, when I said, you have to maintain a close eye on your own schedule so that you move the treatment forward, I don't even know what I could have done here. According to the urologist, the lab didn't follow instructions and didn't do what they were supposed to do and wasted a sample. And I've only given 2 viable samples since we began this whole story. And then when I spoke to today, the reproductive biology unit, they said, well, the physician never properly ordered the thing. I come from a medical family. I know all about hospital politics. A hospital can have all the little squabbles it likes, but not when it impacts my treatment. And I am extremely frustrated, and I really don't know how to respond to this. So the answer is I bank another sample, and then hopefully the proper tests will be done this time round, and we'll know whether we can go forward with ICSI. But as it is, we don't know at all. The alternative to that is if I'm producing nothing viable, then we'd have to look at a biopsy, and I'm really very uncomfortable with that. I want to know more about that. I want to know more about the percentages associated with it. But basically, they open up my testicles and start hunting for viable sperm. And, I think the percentages on this are getting a little low. And frankly, as I say, if I decide that I'm willing to call a halt to this and move on to IUI, which is a less invasive procedure and much cheaper. The child isn't mine, it's Hope's, but at least we'll have made a decision and we'll move forward with it. But here we're stuck in limbo again. And as I say, I don't know what the response to this is. It's exceedingly frustrating to be told by both authoritative sources that either you have a fully viable treatment plan or you don't, within days of one another. And it just seems to once again be an issue of miscommunication between them. And it is so important to make sure that your team is talking to one another properly. And again, the response here isn't even something that I could have done. This is not me keeping an eye on the clock and making sure that something has happened. This is just somebody not following somebody's instruction or should have anticipated instruction or not giving instruction. I don't care what it is. It's something completely out of my control, and yet we lose more time and drop things, and it's deeply frustrating. So perhaps if ever this is viewed by medical professionals, this is something you ought to take note of. Communication is key. Delays due to miscommunications are unacceptable. So where we stand today, I'm really not sure. If I give a viable sample, then what we will do is go forward with ICSI. Hopefully I'll give a good sample on the day of the procedure. If not, we have my own sperm to back it up, frozen, that we have proven can be thawed and is viable. And failing that, we will move to donor sperm. Now very quickly, one person mentioned you can always freeze the eggs and make a decision about the donor sperm later. In actuality, freezing unfertilized eggs is still somewhat experimental. They'll do it if you've got, if you're a young woman who's about to go through chemo and may go infertile, they'll do it. But really, you need to make a decision ahead of time. If I'm not able to produce viable sperm and they need to fertilize those eggs with something, there's got to be a backup at that time. So we have to make that decision now. But I'm going to talk about donor sperm in a next post because this is already getting lengthy. So thank you so much. I am going to explode. And no, I'm not. I'm just I'm starting to get. I don't know. It depends on the day. Some days I'm utterly devastated, and other days I'm whatever, and we'll see what happens. But in my live journal account, I certainly posted that I just couldn't take it, and I took a day off of work after I heard this news that we couldn't go ahead because I just. Fury. Alright, so this is a process, and I don't know how you manage it effectively. I don't. So if you're working with more than one team, I think it's important that you establish at the outset that communication is going on. And if not, I don't know how you remedy it. So that's the issue. Wish us luck. I'll certainly keep you posted once we find out whether we can go forward with this. And that's what we'll do. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.